This edition of MacVoices is sponsored by lynda.com, the unparalleled online video training library. For a free 10-day unlimited trial, visit lynda.com/MacVoices. MacVoices is in Las Vegas for NAB. I'm Chuck Joyner. I stopped by the OWC booth and I got to talk to Larry O'Connor. Larry, I got the top guy.
Right on. How you doing? Appreciate you being here.
Hey, well, thank you. It's been a while since we've chatted, and I know that OWC has so many cool new things that they're showing here at NAB, so I'll ask you to just walk us through.
All right, sure. First and foremost, we have our Thunderbolt 2 dock. It was introduced in December. It's been in a pre-order status. You know, we couldn't produce it fast enough to fill the demand, and now, as of 2 weeks ago, we were able to announce full availability, same-day shipping availability. It's the only dock in the market with those 12 ports. It's one Thunderbolt cable, really that connects your world. It has FireWire, which it was really shocking to see FireWire being dropped from a lot of docks because there's so much out there on FireWire, whether it's audio devices or just great archives and drives that have data you still want to access. That FireWire is the way. So that's been a big one. It's been a big one all year, and it's just really great now to have it immediate availability and getting it out there, so more people can enjoy it and have the benefit.
It's funny, you don't exactly think of a Thunderbolt dock as something that takes you backward in time and gives you backward compatibility, but so many of us have so much invested in FireWire. It's nice to have this option.
I couldn't agree more, and again, it's kind of been tough seeing FireWire go away because it's been so widespread, and there's just so much of my data still on FireWire drives. I mean, there's just why not?
Yeah, and I hate to just throw those away because they're fine drives. They just maybe don't hold up to the way things are right now.
Well, they don't have the interface that Apple says you have to use, so we can give you that interface and keep them going a bit longer. So that's.
And as I recall, that price point is what, about $300?
Actually, $249.
$249. Okay, good. Okay, so that's a product that pretty much everybody can use.
Absolutely. I mean, it's got 5 USB 3 ports. They're high speed. They're UASP enabled. So, I mean, they're full speed. A lot of the docks have half speed ports. 2 of them are high power. So, if you want to plug in a iPad or other device, I mean, it charges up to 2.4 amps. There's gigabit Ethernet. There's audio on it. There's even HDMI that connects the display to it. I mean, it's really one cable, one Thunderbolt cable, to your world. So great for people on the go, and great just to have those ports available. Most Macs don't have a whole lot of ports today, so for a lot of applications, a really good solution.
And especially because I use a Mac Pro as my primary machine, a MacBook Pro as my primary machine, and toting it back and forth, plugging all those things in and out, that gets a little tedious at times. This way, it's one port, one time, and I'm done.
Absolutely, positively. Save all that, save the port wear.
Exactly. Now, of course, OWC doesn't just do consumer-facing things. They do. You do a lot of things, and I think that's the focus of what's going on here at NAB. Some of the higher-end stuff.
Sure, we have our Thunderbay 4, which we now announced goes up to 32 terabytes. So that's the great 4-bay solution. Thunderbolt 2, data rates with drives up to about 900 megabytes a second. But more important, it ships with a soft RAID engine, which gives you RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 4, 5, and 10. And on top of that, you also get the peace of mind of really good drive health monitoring. A lot of solutions, they kind of fake it, or they depend highly on smart, which really isn't all that smart when it comes to drive prediction. And the soft RAID utility, the soft RAID tool, it monitors the drives as you're using them. It uses smart for some of the attributes, but it knows the drive that has certain expected behaviors, and when it sees something that's kind of amiss, way before you're getting errors, way before you're having actual problems, way before smart says there's anything wrong at all, it'll give you a notification that suggests there's a probability of failure. They won't say it's going to fail right now today. I mean, hopefully it won't. I mean, it will, depending on what those stats are, but it will give you a probability of failure where there's 3 months, 6 months out, what the percent is based on, what it's seeing, so that you have time to replace that drive before you're getting a crash or a lock screen. I mean, things that become far more time-consuming and more hair-tearing. So it's a really good intelligent drive monitoring. It does email notification, which actually works. It also, a lot of the email, that's the other thing.
Yeah, that was a good line. It actually works.
It doesn't depend on Apple Mail. It uses, Terminal actually uses SMTP at the core, at the OS level. This is an enterprise solution that's, for anybody from, home user all the way up into enterprise. And the flexibility compared to hardware RAID is really exceptional as well. This performance now is in line and is on parity with a hardware RAID. But unlike a hardware RAID where you're locked to a proprietary box, something goes down with that box. I mean, a power surge takes out the power supply. You need another box just like it to get your data. With soft RAID, those drives can be put into virtually anything. If you're upgraded, you can move those drives into another solution, and your RAID is still intact. You can also have multiple RAIDs on the drive. So maybe you want a redundant space for just so you could lose a drive if something happens in a drive. And unfortunately, it's not about if a drive is going to fail. Ultimately, hard drives they're a moving device. They're spinning platters. It's when they're going to fail. I mean, hopefully they never fail, but while you're using anyway. But at some point, it's inevitable. And
you just said, though, of course, hard drives. We're all familiar with the rotational drives. That's what most of us have been using. But now we're seeing SSDs creep in, be so efficient, be so fast, and they're also now creeping up into the professional level.
Certainly. Our Merc Extreme Pros are Blackmaster certified, they're Sound Device certified, they're ideal for audio video. I mean, they're high performance, long lasting SSDs that really breathe new life, raise your Mac to new performance levels. And our Thunderbird 4 Mini, also with the software engine, incorporates up to 4 of those SSDs for up to 4 terabytes of exceptionally high performance SSD capacity. And if you really need speed, we've got the Viper. Our Viper is an 8-way SSD array with an enterprise SAS controller in the middle that goes out through Thunderbolt, and it sustains data. Effectively, Thunderbolt is its limit. It peaks up at 1375 megabytes a second sustained. There's no dips. It doesn't dip and bounce around. It is flatline high performance for really serious editing needs. And Thunderbolt's a great interface for all these things because it's exceptionally stable, it's reliable, and the control over Thunderbolt compared to the USB interface is something that really keeps the specifications in line, where the experience from device to device, the performance and what you can expect and just general reliability exceeds pretty much anything else out there today.
I know you guys, you've tested this stuff ad nauseum, so you know how it works. And you're seeing any surprises with an SSD equipped kind of RAID? I mean, obviously it's going to be faster, but any other issues as far as longevity or extra speed or anything like that?
On the longevity thing, we've built our drives to not depend upon trim, and they have exceptionally strong. Again, SandForce is really an enterprise class controller. Now, even at the consumer level, it's really a pro controller. I mean, it's designed for longevity. It's designed not to be dependent on OS level, well, for lack of a better term, dependencies on the OS side. And Apple doesn't do a lot to support third-party SSDs. So having drives that have really good self-management that can maintain low write application, which it's kind of, I mean, if you're going on a trip, you want to have the shortest path, ideally the best route to get to your destination. Having good drive management means instead of perhaps driving 10 miles to get to a location, you're taking the better route that's 3 miles. You're reducing wear on the NAND just like you reduce wear on a tire in a trip. And something else that really was interesting, with SSDs and moving SSDs into RAID, and a lot of solutions don't support this, and we're advocating, we're starting to educate people on RAID 4. RAID 4 is actually for an SSD just because of the high IOPS and the high input-output, the high data rate that SSDs support, and the high transaction rate. With small calls, it's actually more efficient to have a RAID 4 array with an SSD drive base, as opposed to having RAID 5. And it's RAID 4 is, the difference. RAID 5 is distributed parity, which means each drive has some redundancy for the other drives in the array. In RAID 4, you have a single drive that's the parity drive that manages the redundancy for the other 3 drives. So in any case, any one of those drives can still fail, but because of how SSDs operate, RAID 4 is actually a much better. So you get better read speeds when you're going off RAID 4 versus RAID 5. In fact, I believe it's about 10-15% better on the read side. So it's just because it's a lower number doesn't make it isn't an inferior RAID, and that's something we're bringing back, and we're really excited that we have that support in our engine.
But a 10 to 15% performance difference is quite a difference.
It's huge. It's over 100 megabytes a second difference on 4 drives going over Thunderbolt. It's substantial.
Wow. Okay, that was unexpected.
I agree. We were surprised and impressed.
So what else? I mean, I know I keep saying what else, but I know there's just so many things here.
And maybe I can grab them from somebody, see if I can get somebody to come. Hey, Erica, can you bring over the little Envoy Pro Mini? Could I borrow that off your lanyard? You can just unclip it.
I've been using that.
No worries. Well, I'll give it back, I promise. Now, this is our Envoy.
Hold on,
sure.
I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1.
This is our Envoy Pro Mini. This product goes up to 240 gigabytes today, 480 gigabytes within a couple weeks here. It's a USB 3.0 SSD. It's not just a flash drive. This is a full-fledged SSD in this nice aluminum enclosure, and it supports data rates up to 440 megs a second. So if you need to transfer data from place to place, need a way to, there's offloading video, audio, just moving a backup, whatever it may be, this little guy comes with a nice lanyard, very small, very kind of on the script, but is exceptionally powerful, exceptionally fast. And I'll tell you, even the little details. It's first off, you can pretty much run this thing over and it'll survive. It's exceptionally rugged. It fits correctly in all the different MacBook Airs, MacBook Retinas. It's designed with a taper so that it doesn't effectively lift your machine like a lot of flash drives we've seen do. So it fits right in your Mac. And if you got it around your neck, you don't have to take the whole lanyard off. You can just, quick little release, plug it in. We even have a way to store the details matter. I tell you, it's such a
they do.
Having fun. So you don't lose the cap. The cap goes right on the back, no problem. You're done. Cap her back up. It's easier when this is on your neck, but flip it back together and you're off. So small, compact, but this is up to realistic right now up to 480 gigabytes. That it's a very small package that for transporting data at exceptionally high speeds.
There are a lot of us that are using computers that don't have an SSD with that much space in them.
This is correct, and they got, for what it's worth, you could even boot off of this. This can be your boot drive if you so desired. But if you got a Mac and you haven't upgraded to an SSD, it's very easy to do. That is such a, a lot of people when they think they need a new system just need a little bit of a kick. The SSD is, it's better than what you'd ever expect from a new system. It's far more than you could imagine that system can do. So we've been building SSDs for these Macs now for it's almost 7 years now, and it's pretty incredible, what an SSD will do if you don't have one. Once you go SSD, you can never ever go back.
Yeah, the good news is it's so much better and faster. The bad news is you cannot go back.
It's kind of like if you were on dial-up or even on DSL and you had your first taste of broadband, anything faster. Going back becomes a painful experience. But SSDs have become very inexpensive, relatively. They're cost-effective, and certainly compared to looking at a new computer, it's such an amazing return on investment.
And as I recall, it's been a while since I've looked, but the SSD installation you can do yourself, and you have videos on the website to help us accomplish it.
Absolutely, not just video. You have complete do-it-yourself kits that come with all the tools you need, even come with the enclosure to put your existing drive into so you can transfer data and even turn that into an external backup. The videos walk you right through. These are, depending upon the Mac, it can be as little as 5 minutes to take that drive out, put in an SSD. Or the MacBook, you can even take your optical drive out. We have external enclosures for the optical in which you can either discard, maybe you don't need your optical anymore. If you do, we have an external case for that, and you can actually put that SSD inside the optical bay, use it as your primary boot drive, and turn that other drive into essentially a secondary backup that's live right with it. Time machine can always be going because it's right there in the computer with you.
Every time I talk to somebody from OWC, I want to go home and upgrade everything.
Upgrading is a great. These Macs last a long time, and there's so much potential, and there's so many things you can do. And it's it's a sad thing how many machines we see that never get the benefit of an upgrade. And it's really, we enjoy seeing all this stuff go further. Whether it's your video workflow or your Mac. Taking things further is what we've done for 26 years.
What does the Envoy go for, and what configurations?
The Envoy starts at 120 gigabytes for $119. The 240 is $199, and we haven't officially announced the 480 price. So we're still working on it. But you get 240 gigs, quarter terabyte sitting in your pocket, actually around your neck is, I think, pretty amazing.
Yeah, I want that around my neck, not in my pocket, because in my pocket I tend to lose things. Around my neck, no. And I really don't want to lose that much data.
Agreed, absolutely positive. Well, we make it easy. Again, this is a great solution, and the cool thing I'll tell you, I personally don't have to worry about you losing the lanyard because that can stay in your neck. You disconnect and go. We want things to be practical. We want to be solution. We want everything that we offer to be usable and get used. So we try to pay attention to these little details and have fun with the technology inside.
Larry, we've covered a lot. The best place for folks to go and learn all about this is, of course,
sure, macsales.com, or you can check out our news site that starts to showcase some of our products at a whole different level, and that would be owcdigital.com.
Great. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for the time.
And likewise, anytime, and I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. MacVoices is at NAB. We will be back with more. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the MacVoices blog. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the MacVoices Dispatch, to stay up to date on all the latest MacVoices news, from our front page or at MacVoices.com/newsletter. Do more with your Apple tech by subscribing to the free MacVoices magazine on Flipboard by visiting MacVoices.com/magazine. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.